Hi, I'm Koku. As you may know, a year ago, oh my god, it's been a year already, SlimeVR sent me their trackers to review, and I came out of it somewhat satisfied. And once again, I answered their call, and they sent me a new review kit for their new butterfly trackers. Thank you! Same as last time, I'm giving my honest opinion. All they did is send me trackers and ask very nicely for me to talk about them, so why not? It makes me money, and you know how much I like that. I won't be repeating myself too much from last video, but if you're interested in SlimeVR, go check it out. I'll be testing the trackers to see how they work, how they compare to the original slimes, and if I think they could be right for you. Without further ado, let's jump into it. Let's open the box, but before we do, keep in mind these are prototypes. It does include some things, I'll touch on that at the end of this section, and not all of these things will be included in the final package. I'll have a little note right here that lets you know about the specifics when they come on screen. In the package, I got the trackers, of course. I received 10 of them, and they come in this neat box which makes organizing them so much easier. And it really puts into perspective the sheer size of the trackers, which I'll get back to. The package also includes a work-in-progress dongle with a stand which will eventually look like this and foreshadows a very positive change with the slimes. The straps are here and they include this new attachable clip bit, which is a surprisingly nice addition. They also include belt clips and iron-ons to transform everyday clothes into specific VR clothes. I also got a rake. You're supposed to put your straps on here and attach it to the wall. Given the pure frailness of my wall, I will not try this, but it definitely could come in handy. The one thing that was included but I wish I could have tested was the charger. They're still working on it and thinking of selling it separately. If I were to daily drive these, I would absolutely get it. So far so good, so let's get into usually the worst part of slimes, the setup. Since my brain is the size of a walnut except way smaller, and I explained it last video, I'll make it quick. Most trackers require base stations or cameras, but slimes use a bunch of tech to accurately guess where your limbs are, by sending all the relevant data to their server that runs on your PC, and applying it to a 3D model that matches your proportions as much as possible. I remember receiving slimes and having to connect them to my Wi-Fi, and then having to set them up for hours. But butterflies are a clear improvement on that. Plug in the dongle and they're connected. Now usually that's when you'd struggle to do a long and annoying calibration, but surprisingly, not. In the latest update to the Slime server, instead of forcing you to do a dance to get your accurate measurements, a general all-purpose mannequin is created from your height alone, which is surprisingly accurate, at least for me. You can still dive in the settings and get the old dance if you'd like, but this new method is a time saver for most. All you have to do is hit 2 poses, and if you've done them correctly, which isn't too hard, you'll be set up fairly quickly. They also have feet set up, which hasn't failed me yet, and I'm not sure how it could. And they also have the new Stay Aligned, which prevents drifting a little bit by recording your poses and realigning the trackers when they go too far. This is a net improvement in terms of setup from the previous slimes I received, the setup being one of my biggest gripes with them in the first place. But it's not the only improvement, as I see quite a couple in the straps themselves. First things first, they're not sticky anymore. Official SlimeVR straps had the annoying issue of sticking to one another, which would make setting up even more time consuming than it was really. But no more! The second is those clippy bits I mentioned earlier. They allow you to put straps on very easily, as obviously you don't need to adjust size anymore after the first time. So they basically instantly clip to parts of your body. Although one thing I'll say is that 10 trackers is a lot, and that's 10 straps to set up. And as nice as they are now, I will be advising you to get some iron-ons to create your own VR suit you can put on and start playing with. Just make sure your trackers are in the right spot, especially because I still find that the chest tracker really deserves its own harness. Did I ever mention that? From there, simply drop those trackers right on the straps and they seamlessly attach. Once again, this is a massive improvement to many aspects of the trackers from what I received a year ago. This makes getting into VR with slimes so much easier, which is way more important than you'd think. Without getting into a different topic, this is an amazing change that is sure to push a couple of people into slimes. So the real question remains, how are the trackers? They're slimes! No, seriously, in my testing, and as advertised really, despite their much smaller size and increased flexibility, they behave the same as the original trackers. Once everything is set up right, they work really well. They don't suffer from occlusion like other trackers. You can lay down, have a cover on you, and swing everywhere, and they follow your body pretty well. I think my previous statement that they're perfect for being a gremlin on VR still applies here. And this is key to my thoughts on them. Slimes are inherently always going to be second to trackers such as Vives or Tundras. They're not as accurate, they will drift eventually, sometimes they break a little bit. And if you compare the positions, a lot of the time they'll be off by just a little bit. Never enough to matter too much, mind you, but still. If you've had accurate trackers before, this will be a little shocking, maybe even a little off-putting. That's why personally I still regularly use my Vive trackers instead, as they are more accurate with less trackers needed. Sorry people, you won't be getting the sweaty Koku VR suit for an exorbitant price on eBay, but you can get my avatars on Jinxie. One thing I didn't think was going to matter as much as it did was the size of the trackers themselves. They are genuinely tiny. I'll say it here. It's happened several times in a row that I forget I'm even wearing them and realize 10 minutes later. These trackers are smaller than the previous Slimes as well as Vive Ultimates by a large amount. Matter of fact, they're the tiniest trackers I've seen for VR so far, which is insanely cool. Overall, when they do come out, I would recommend them. If you don't have trackers and are in a tight spot, it's bang for your buck really. Of course, if you can save up, I'd recommend getting some more accurate trackers, but I know many of my friends who have Slimes and have no complaint nor feel any need to upgrade, so maybe I'm just spoiled. But would I recommend you give your money to companies that overprice their products or Kickstarters that haven't proven themselves reliable yet? Of course not. So, low-key, maybe you should just get the cock and bull tracker. Wait, you can have toe tracking? In retrospect, butterfly slimes are the best trackers ever. But hey, thanks for watching the video till the end. I really appreciate it. I'd like to say thank you to Slime for sending me those trackers to review. It's really nice, and I love free things. If you like the avatar you saw in the video, I make avatars, so check out my Jinxie and Gumroad. It's right there, and they're pretty cool, and they've got outfits too. I make outfits for them, so yeah. I've also just opened a Patreon. If you're interested in supporting the channel or what I do, and to get some exclusive behind-the-scenes stuff, that's where you'll find it. I'll also be posting future videos 1 week in advance, and yes, I've got a couple videos that I'm planning to make, so... And yeah, hopefully you will not have to wait another year for a new video. So yeah, see you soon.